You're listening to another episode of Cloud and Clear. I'm your host, Orkideh Shahidi, and I'm the Senior Vice President of People Operations at SADA. This is the podcast where we talk about all things cloud, technology, what's going on with Google Cloud. You're probably wondering why I'm hosting today, and we have a very unique topic on tap. Before we get into it, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on the newest Cloud and Clear releases from SADA. Today, I'm pleased to introduce Nadine Saraff, Chief Marketing Officer from Prodoscore. Nadine, welcome to the show.
Hi, Orkideh. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Well, before we dive in, can you please tell our listeners who Prodoscore is and what type of cloud technologies you provide?
Yes, absolutely. So Prodoscore is a non-invasive and employee-centric data visualization and productivity solution that essentially creates visibility into daily engagement with cloud tools.
Well, that's great to hear because at SADA, we are driven by our core values, and one of our core values is to be data-driven. It's my understanding that data is a fundamental driver behind your technology. Let's talk about what kind of data Prodoscore is surfacing and any obstacles you faced in rolling it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, unfortunately, our tech is sometimes misunderstood. And the reality is that the data we're surfacing already exists. So Prodoscore plugs in via API to a business's core productivity tools, things like your Office suite, your phone system, your CRM, maybe Slack and similar tools, to basically output a single score indicative of digital engagement, tool adoption, workload, overall productivity, how workers are engaged with each other based on their interaction with different chat tools. So we're essentially aggregating all of that data that organizations already have in disparate places and oftentimes don't know what to do with, and really just making it simple and easy to consume. So the goal is not to capture and visualize every single activity, but instead to create kind of a picture of an employee's or a team's or an organization's general engagement with these different company tools and be alerted to dramatic shifts, like, for example, a massive dip in activity, or on the flip side, an overburdened staff member who's potentially on the verge of burnout. At Prodoscore, we've worked really hard to keep employees at the center of what we do. So we wanted to bring to market a solution that would clearly benefit the employer and leadership, but also present new opportunities to the employees. Unfortunately, I think people are not always forthcoming with the challenges that they may be facing. So if I'm burnt out, or I'm frustrated, or lonely, or I'm struggling to keep up, it's going to impact my work, my health. And with this type of data that Prodoscore surfaces, some of those challenges can kind of be made apparent to leadership. I think it's also important to remember that Prodoscore is a complementary tool. It is a data point. It's not the data point. It certainly doesn't replace good judgment, skill, knowledge about our people. It's really just there to visualize those outputs and provide factual, actionable insight about the workforce.
Well, it's very important to use data to make lots of decisions, so that sounds exactly right. Can you tell us a little bit about the benefits of adopting an EPM solution?
I can. So I think big picture, the value of data is kind of a no-brainer, especially for SADA. But as it relates to data around productivity and digital engagement, I think I can touch on maybe a few areas. And there are a few areas in particular where we tend to see organizations can really drive progress. One is burnout, which I mentioned earlier, but being able to identify employees who may be overworked and overburdened means that as a manager, you can step in and potentially reallocate resources or adjust timelines, due dates, things like that before it's too late, before they're ready to walk out the door because they're completely overworked. Another area where our customers see a lot of value is in the adoption of cloud tools, being able to visualize how those different cloud applications are being utilized really helps to prove out the value and ROI. You know, we spend so much money on these applications, but oftentimes those dollars are wasted on products that teams are just not using. Um, Remote and hybrid work is another area that's been top of mind for the last several years. I think now the consensus is organizations really do need to allow for some kind of flexibility in the way people work. We're no longer going to be on board with strict working arrangements, and with visibility into really how a hybrid or remote workforce is engaged, I think leadership can be a little bit more comfortable in some cases supporting that type of environment. We have a customer, for example, who created an opt-in policy for hybrid work, where if you opt into Prodoscore, you can adopt that hybrid or remote schedule. And those employees really, really love that freedom. I would add one more item here as far as a benefit is accountability and maybe recognition. Those are really big opportunities when it comes to this type of data. Just because of that visibility, I think both of those things become a lot more achievable.
That's a very positive thing to do, recognition and reward. So I could understand that too. Knowing that there are other companies out there doing what Prodoscore does, can you share more about how partnering with Google Cloud and SADA here are setting Prodoscore apart? Do you have any successes you can point out since implementation?
Yes. Well, Prodoscore is built in the cloud. We live in the cloud, so it's really a perfect match as far as partnerships go. We're an API-based solution, hyper-focused on business tools and really understanding how teams use them, which we know is a priority of SADA's also. As far as successes, there are two items I'd love to highlight here. The first is the ease of implementation through Google Cloud Marketplace. It is certainly a big undertaking. The SADA team was incredible, so easy to work with, and really just made the process really, really simple. So we appreciate that for sure. Another item I will call a success, although it's still very early in the process, is a new opportunity we identified for our product. And that's really based largely on conversations we've had with the SADA team. And we're really working to scope out together. The product focuses on digital tool adoption. Like I said, it's early in the development phase, but we're basically in the process of building new functionality into Prodoscore that really focuses exclusively on that adoption piece to give leaders and organizations insight into how their investment in those cloud tools is paying off. Does every department need access to X tool, or could you save money, for example, by cutting down on the number of licenses? If you rolled out a new phone system, does everyone know how to use it, or are there maybe gaps in training that'll impact its efficiency? I think as more and more tools become available, understanding and really being able to visualize that adoption and engagement can inform business decisions around those tools and technology. It's a massive opportunity that we've uncovered really because of our partnership with SADA.
I know our team on this side sings the praises of the Prodoscore team, so it's a great partnership. So thank you. I appreciate that. So as we wrap up here shortly, predictions for 2023 or trends you're already seeing.
Yeah, that's a good segue because I'm going to go back to this this topic of tools and adoption. I would say my prediction for this year is really around this concept of understanding digital adoption. So if we look back at the last few years, I think we've generally seen that the tech stack has grown substantially. We especially saw that as businesses went remote in 2020. Cloud tools were the obvious solution as people were working from home. But I think we're at a place now where, in some cases, technology may actually be overburdening teams and potentially creating some challenges with efficiencies. So it's going to be really important for organizations to reevaluate what technologies do matter. Do we need multiple chat tools? Is the team using the phone system that we've implemented the way that they should be? Are there maybe redundancies? And I think with that visibility and access to actionable data around that digital engagement, leadership teams will be able to quickly realized that there are sizable cost savings to be had by simply understanding what tools are being used and how. And it's really exciting that Prodoscore can be a part of that decision-making process as an organization, again, in conjunction with SADA.
Thank you so much for joining us, Nadine.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure. And to learn more about Prodoscore, please visit us at our website. It's www.prodoscore.com.
All right, make sure to like and subscribe to our show. This year we will be offering exclusive insights from leaders like Nadine, and you won't want to miss it. We'll see you next time on Cloud and Clear. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Cloud and Clear. Check the show notes for links to this week's topics. And don't forget to connect with us on Twitter at Cloud and Clear and our website, sada.com. Be sure to rate and review the show on your favorite podcast app.